that I saw without, Kawhi playing, Clippers and Dallas. So, that was quite a controversial game for me because, Luka and Kyrie both had 30 each and still lost the game. You know what I mean? And it was quite a blowout earlier, right? They only really lost by 12 in the end, but garbage time and all that stuff. But what did you see in that game that kind of like says anything about either one of those teams? Like, I mean, like the Clippers were looking quite good, without Kawhi. So, do you think they're going to give, a good shot to Denver if it ever gets to that point? I mean, that would be the next series, right? For both of them.
Yes. Yes. 4-5. Denver 3. No.
Yeah.
Denver would
Oh,
face.
no,
No,
Denver's
Denver.
second. Sorry.
Yeah. So Denver would face Timberwolves or Suns.
Yeah.
So, the Clippers, but even so, to answer your question, if the Clippers, whoever wins this, could have a good chance because they're more than likely going to face OKC, which is an inexperienced team. They showed that last night against the Pelicans, only winning by 2 points or whatever. So the Clippers, man. See, this is why a lot of people pick the Clippers because if James Harden's the X factor. If he dropped, I think 28, 29 points, something like that. If James Harden drops what needs to be dropped, it could be a wash, because the Clippers are the vet team. Like I mentioned to you, like a Luka-led Mavericks team does not do well against veteran playoff teams. He plays well in the regular season, but I talk about playoffs, right? And I see that's a problem with a lot of people. They can't differentiate the two. They're like, oh, well, you played great in the regular season, but it means you also must play. But the Mavericks, they only scored 8 points in the second quarter. That's unacceptable from a potential MVP. Everybody's calling Luka MVP this year. That's horrible, right? And Kyrie, who's an automatic scorer in his right own, whatever, only scoring 8 points in a playoff game. That's unacceptable, man. Gafford was unplayable yesterday. Zubac, like he made Zubac look like Shaquille O'Neal. Like the Clippers just look like a well-oiled machine. Sorry. And this was all without Kawhi. This is without Kawhi, their best player on the team. Do I expect the Mavericks to only score 8 points in a quarter? No, I don't expect that going forward. But I'm not 100% shocked that the Clippers came out and punched them in the mouth really hard. I'm not shocked. I'm really not shocked. I don't know what you're thinking, but I just wasn't shocked by that game.
I mean, I was expecting a little bit of a closer game, but do you see like any of the I mean, it's early to say, but do you see like Mavs getting it together because it is a little bit of going back home and making adjustments. Every game is going to be adjustments. Do you see any of this pivoting to look at the Dallas Mavs, game 3, game 4, they came and tied it up kind of thing. Do you see that potentially happen, or do you think it's just like they got trampled? From what it looks like, it's just going to be an easy gentleman sweep, or not even a close battle as we kind of thought it was, because I don't know, we were saying kind of like game 6, game 7, right?
Yeah, we were. Yeah.
So do you think it's going to be like a game 4, game 5 series kind of thing, or?
I mean, so the part of the reason why the the Dallas Mavericks, kind of closed that gap between them in the second half was they use that, what's the name, Kleba. Man, I'm tripping on his name right now.
Yeah, Kleba, yeah, something like that.
Max Kleba or something. Sorry if I said your name wrong, but they put him at the 5, right? They took Gafford out. Gafford could not do that. Lively couldn't do that because it allowed he's more of a perimeter shooter. Right, so it opens up the lane a little bit more because Gafford, he's a dunker. He's going to be in that dunker position, and he's going to clog up the middle and Kyrie and Luka, like part of their games are driving to the basket. Yeah, they they need space, right? So by having Cleveland on the floor, that stretches the floor out, takes Zubac out of the paint, and allows Luka and Kyrie to get to the paint. So that's why they close the gap. So I am expecting a more competitive game from the Mavericks. I wouldn't be surprised if they won game 2 based on that adjustment. But this is what I said. I said Clippers in 7 because I could see adjustments going back and forth, back and forth. I feel like it's one of those series, right? But at the same time, too, Luka and Kyrie both dropped 30 plus 30 points, and they didn't get anything else from anybody else. And this was the problem with the Mavericks team. Yes, Luka can drop 35, Kyrie can drop 30, but outside of that, where are you getting offense? Tim Hardaway Jr. He's not always hot. Sometimes he's cold. PJ Washington, he's not really an offensive threat. Gafford, he relies on Luka to score. Lively relies on. So it's gonna have to be one of those series where the Mavericks are scoring a lot through Kyrie and Luka, but then maybe Harden's having a bad game, or Paul George is not shooting the ball well, or stuff like that. Because that's who beat them: Harden, Paul George, Zubac. So if like one or two of those can be neutralized a bit, and
Yeah.
Kyrie and Luka can still drop their 30 whatever plus 30 points, then we have the series. But if this is what we're gonna see, where it's just Kyrie and Luka and that's it, and they're not making any defensive adjustments, then yeah, it could be a quick series. It could really be a quick series, and this could play into what you were like. I guess you were saying since from time, like, how is Kyrie and Luka gonna work? Like, you were saying this from time. You were like, I don't know how this is gonna work. You got two guys who are pretty much in the same thing. There's nothing really much outside of that. Like the Celtics, at least they have something outside of that. Other players can do something,
Yeah.
but the Mavericks, they don't. So I mean, I guess you kind of already saw this in a way ish, based on the play style. I'm not sure, but
Yeah, I guess I did say that early. I said a lot of things early, and then I kind of I did a Stephen A. over the past 3 months, bro. Because I used to remember I kept on saying Clips are gonna win the whole thing. Remember I was saying that, right?
Yeah.
I was saying that from like episode 1, but and just the way they were clicking over the I guess it's the season, the season is so deceiving. But those last 30 games, they were really clicking, and I like it looked like everything was working. But of course, when it's playoff time and they really, they have 2 weeks to sit down and focus on that team, then they really get exposed, right? So I mean, it's definitely not championship basketball. I just thought they were gonna pull some, rabbits out their butt, and maybe they will. Maybe they will make their adjustments, but it will be tough. It will be like, once again, a very small window. A lot of things have to go right for them, and a couple things wrong for the other team, as you said. And I was kind of banking on PG kind of disappearing in the playoffs, and maybe Harden just being a little bit of like a not as effective as he is in the season, but and the fact that Kawhi he's out for game 1, that's crazy that they did this, because when he's on the court, like it feels like a completely different team. It feels like a team where, like, with the manager in now, like, how everything is just like pure chaos and pure slack when like the teacher's not around or the manager's not around. I feel like everyone has their hard hat on when Kawhi is on the court, bro. When he's suited up and playing, everyone's like, okay, no BS, So the fact that they had it all sorted out without him there, I don't know if he was on the bench. I didn't see any clips of him on the bench or whatever, but he adds something to the team regardless of just being in that locker room. So it's good that they had it together. It's a good look for them. And if they keep, playing these X and O's with Dallas, they're definitely going to win the series, and probably roll over OKC as well.